to another episode of the Lone Recruiter Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Clements, and today we are joined by Crystal O'Neill from Nourish Our Minds. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Now, I have you on today. I had to write down how many bloody things you've achieved because it's amazing. We've worked with Crystal over the years as a company, and I've watched your journey from start to where you are today, and I would never have thought you'd come this far because what you've done is amazing. But Nourish Our Minds, if you Google it, is your business. It's a consulting business for mindset and confidence coaching, which I love that. And I just found out that you do over 100 sessions last year in New Zealand for a luxury wellness retreat as well, helping billionaires deal with their shit, and all the other various things you do. I see you on podcasts, and I see you doing your women's retreats that you host and all that sort of stuff. So very applicable for you to come onto this podcast and talk about the mindset. I'm going to jump straight into it.
I love that. I didn't get to say thank you.
No more pleasantries.
And it's just like, boom, we're going into it.
I want to go in. So, and I want to start with the luxury wellness retreat, right?
Yes.
So what are you doing in that? What are you doing there?
Yeah, so I do NLP consulting to Aroha, which is a luxury wellness retreat.
Yep. So
essentially we have these high-profile professionals that come in. They're often stressed out, they're burnt out, they need to reduce their stress, and they want to feel calm and be in an incredible location. So essentially our backdrop is this amazing lake with these mountains, and we do things like hiking, we do breath work, there's hot and cold therapy, wellness like walks, and it's just an all-inclusive environment for breathing success and also just slowing down and resting and allowing ourselves to digest this incredible life that we have. But what it actually does is it brings people back to themselves. So we get people that come there once and it's a week and it completely changes their life. And we get some people that come every 6 months, every year, and it's their thing that they go to. So I go there and I do these one-off kind of sessions with them for additional therapy. And in that's when I do the NLP. And we get to the good stuff.
Right. So for anyone who doesn't know what NLP stands for or means, can we just touch on that?
Of course. So it stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And the easiest way to kind of understand what I do is looking into your subconscious. Now, your subconscious is actually about 95% of what we do and who we are is subconscious. Right? Pretty crazy.
That's scary.
So you getting up this morning and going to the bathroom, you're not thinking like left, right, hand on the light switch, right? That is an automated behavior and an automatic thought that you've probably done a billion times in your life. Autopilot. So just like that, we have thoughts about ourselves. We have habits that we've taken on from maybe our parents that maybe aren't serving us. And so in a session, what we do is we look at those unhealthy thoughts and we look at those maybe habitual thought patterns that you've been doing that are not serving you. And by doing that, we're actually looking at the 95%, right? We're actually going to the meat of it rather than just going to that conscious part that's like, oh, I want to be better or I don't want to be stressed out. We actually get to look at the 95%.
And so in the types of clients that you deal with, both at the retreat in your own work, you're talking people who are just starting out in the professional world. You've got people who you've mentioned are multi-billionaires. Is there any difference between those people when you break it down?
No different. No. So I've been doing this for over 5 years now. And it's been really beautiful to kind of watch the process. And in doing all of those sessions and working with people, we all have the same problems. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Everyone is chasing this level of happiness. Everyone is chasing this level of, I want to live life to the fullest. I want to feel content. And the only different thing that I actually really see is the people that are willing to actually go there.
Right. And I'm going to guess, I'm going to take a stab at this. And that in the pursuit of happiness, great film, but in the pursuit of happiness, are we chasing the wrong things?
I think it's such a individualized answer. And I think happiness is so different for every single person. And I think for a lot of people that probably are listening, what makes them feel happy is them actually achieving a level of success. Like I know that for myself. I'm a very ambitious person, as are you. And when I'm succeeding in life, I feel good, right? When I'm not succeeding, you can often not feel good. And that's been my own process and my own journey of understanding, well, why not? Why can I not be happy if I'm not succeeding? And so when you actually unpack it and you look at it, without going too deep into it, often what it is a lot of our worthiness is actually tied up in our work or in our level of how much we've achieved. And so when we're achieving, we're going really hard and really like kicking the goals, feels really good. But we actually, if we take that away, it's like, who are we without our work?
Yeah. And that's scary for a lot of people.
Totally. Some people don't know. Some people like get so caught up in their work and like that is their identity. And that's what I see at the retreat. You know, I see, you know, so many people every week. That is a huge thing that comes through. Maybe they're not in a loving relationship. Maybe they don't even have a partner because they haven't got the time because they're so focused on achieving. They're so focused on the next goal. Or maybe their health is really burnt out. And that was my own personal journey. I know you've also had, you know, health implications as well. And so it's like, well, why can't we have it all? You know, why is it that we have to keep like charging and going for this like thing up here? But when we get to it, we're like, I still feel the same. I still feel shit. I still feel stuck. I don't feel content. I don't feel happy. And when we can actually understand ourselves, we can understand our history, we can understand why we are the way we are, we can then get to the kind of the root cause of the thing that makes us tick.
And that's the arrival fallacy, isn't it? Like that when I get there, I'll be happy. When I get there, this. And I did a whole thing with a guy on that, and it was my eye-opener because I'm such a set a goal, get a goal. Set a goal, get a goal.
Yes.
And like you keep you go, I set a goal, got a goal. Cool, let's do another one. Set a goal, get a I'm going to do 2 now. Set more goals. And you go, when am I going to get there? And you're like, where am I going? And then all of a sudden you're like, what am I chasing? Why am I doing this?
Totally.
And then you just got to learn to enjoy the process, right?
And just actually be in it. Like I say this all the time. It's like celebrate the small wins.
Yeah.
Every single win, because if you can't be like grateful for, you know, getting a new client, then how dare you get 100 clients? You know? Like, it's like celebrate.
You sound like my mum. It's like, how dare you get 100?
Do you know what I mean, though?
Yeah,
that's like, it's like you've got one person that's come into your world. Like, how lucky are you? And so when you can actually sit in that energy as well of like receiving, of celebrating, I've done it, you're then going to become more of a magnet for all of those other people that are coming to you. But if you can't be grateful for one person, then why can you expect 100 people are going to come to you?
Oh, I like it. I'd love to ask around, are there common blocks that people have? Are there common like unlocks, that like common paths you go down to unlock people, or, you know, things that you see come up time and time again that might be useful for people to understand? Because they might be listening to this going, yeah, I'm highly successful, I'm highly driven, but I've got people in my office, for example, who have said, I don't know what I'd do if I didn't work.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Really? I do 1,000 things, like, but I understand the whole wrapping yourself up and feeling worthy in the work you're doing, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I like what you're saying there. You've got to get the balance right.
100%. And you're also a very self-aware individual, right? And awareness.
Trying to be.
But awareness is the first step for change, right? With everything that we do. And so hopefully this conversation does maybe just start to get you to think of like, well, why am I the way I am? Why do I want that thing? What am I actually striving for? And I guess in all the clients that I mentor and the clients that I see at the retreat, a big overarching theme is, again, it's this need to keep going and achieving. And I often see that it's from, generally I see it from a need of validation from when they were younger. So maybe mummy or daddy wasn't emotionally available for them. And so what they did is they did well at school. They got the awards, or they did well in sport and they excelled. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey mum, like, look, I got this award. And mum's like, oh my God, well done, Brett, you've done amazing. And that could have been the only time that they fully felt seen and loved by their parent. So as that little kid, when they don't know, you know, what's right for wrong, they go, oh, well, mum loves me when I do good things. So then I'm going to be that good boy or that good girl and achieve and succeed. So I'm like, hey, mum, hey, dad, look. And then we see that growth. And then that turns into going to university. That then turns into climbing the corporate ladder. That then turns into becoming a manager, a CEO. But then we get to the top and we're like, I don't feel anything. I feel nothing. And the reason we feel nothing is because we're actually doing it for the wrong reasons, right? We're doing it for other people. We're doing it for mummy or daddy's approval. So when we can actually let all that crumble, let it all fall, when we can start to understand ourselves, then we're actually growing those building blocks for us, then we can get to the top. And this was very evident. I call him my millionaire man, and he was one of my very first clients that I mentored for 6 months. He calls me 4 months in and he's like, Crystal, hand on my heart, I can say to you for the first time in my life, I love myself.
Wow.
And he's nearly 50 years old.
Wow. That's a long 50 years.
It's a long 50 years. And, you know, if you're listening, ask yourself that question. Like, do you actually feel worthy of love? Do you feel like you're enough? Do you feel like you've done enough? You have enough? And again, like, that is what's kind of often causing us to keep going and going, but it doesn't really feel good. And then that's when we see the burnout. That's when we see the relationships suffer. And if you're so in your go, need to achieve, I would say high chances if you're in a relationship, your sex life's probably shit. Because you're so in your head, you're planning, you're going. And this is what I call the masculine side of energy, right? Of business and of life. So masculine nature is very like, we're going hard, we're planning, we're taking action, we're driven, we're ambitious, it's powerful. It's amazing. And that's great. But you actually need more of this feminine side to balance it out. You need more allowing, you need more receiving, slowing down, surrendering. And when you can have this beautiful symbiotic relationship between the masculine and feminine, that is when you get balance. If you're too much in your masculine, you're going to burn out. There's going to be relationship problems. You're too in your head. That's why you can't have sex, right? No one wants to have sex when they're like, you know, they're stressed out, right? But when you go on holiday, all of a sudden, you got no work. All of a sudden, you feel turned on. All of a sudden, you want to have sex, right? And I
Dirty weekend.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I love that I went there. I'm like, next it up. Didn't know I was going to talk about sex on the podcast, but here we go. But it's all a part of, you know, it also is a part of life. And, you know, that gives us energy. And so what I often see is people are too much in their masculine, male or female. It's not gender specific. It's just the energy. And we need to bring more of this trusting as well. Trusting's a big one, especially for business owners, because, again, we can get so anxious and caught up in a lot of the fears, and we're not actually being really present, whereas the feminine is more present, it's more allowing, it's more surrendering and trusting. So when you can find that balance of the two, you'll go up.
It's funny. I feel like this is because I'm always on a journey of some sort.
You are over the years.
You're always ebbing and flowing. Well, because you're always just. My wife's just like, you're always on a new thing. I'm like, because I'm always in search of how do I improve? How do we make this better? What do you need? I'm always open to just trying new things, and that doesn't mean I'm flipping and flopping. If it works, it locks in, and I keep it, right? And I'm forever open to going. Let's just revisit the calendar, for example. Is that time frame working? Seeing the kids on that moment, I'm really tired because it's like a Thursday. Maybe I should do it on Tuesday. We've got more energy, and then they're better for it. We're all better for it.
Great.
I don't feel so. I'm very open and fluid like that. And the thing I'm on at the moment is the receiving, because I realised when people give me a compliment, I bat it away.
Yep.
And I was like, why do I do that? I think Beth pointed it out to me. She's like, you don't take compliments. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I just don't want to be the guy. Like, I'm very aware that I'm loud and I'm confident and I'm optimistic. I'm quite larger than life. And I think I don't want people to mistake that as like I'm an attention hog. Not at all. I'm actually just trying to pump up the world, you know? And so I think when people come back and give me a compliment, I feel really awkward about it. And I'm like, why do I feel awkward about it? And I thought, from probably from the help of Beth, but I might now just say thanks.
And that's all you have to say.
And then you're like, that wasn't hard.
Totally.
Or even things like, can I buy you
a
coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I used to say no, don't worry about it.
Yeah, or
now
if
I'm
you
like,
do,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, and that honestly, it's as simple as that. Starting by receiving a coffee, it's the same kind of theory as what I was talking about earlier. If you can receive a coffee, you can receive $10,000, right? But like right now, maybe not you, because you it might be a bit different. But if you're listening, like say if I was to hand you like $10,000. Just kind of sit with that in the body, and what does that feel like to you? Do you feel any level of like uncomfortability? Does it like, oh well, I've got to owe you back, I've got to pay this? Like,
are you just giving it to me?
Yeah, like listen to the stories that kind of come up.
I just think, what do I owe? What do I owe you?
Exactly.
Straight up.
Exactly.
There's always a balance. I'm not just taking 10 grand.
Exactly. So you're kind of cock-blocking yourself from receiving more, to be honest. If you could actually just receive that $10,000 and just go, okay, neutralize that feeling, you will 100% attract more in your life.
I don't think I can do it. How do I do that? If anyone listening wants to give me $10,000, I'm willing to give this experiment a go.
I love that. We've now turned into a money podcast.
We're not trying to take your money. Well, it's a free podcast.
But it's just playing with that energy of receiving and also awareness, right? Like so often we're so caught up in doing. It's that masculine action, go, go, go. And we're not being, right? We're not literally like look at where you live. It's incredible, right? Like you've got the beach, you've got the sunshine, like there's so much nature around you. And like you see people when they come to this retreat in New Zealand, they're like, oh my God. But it's like, you've probably got a very like similar kind of experience that is available to you in your hometown or your home city, but you're just too busy.
Yeah.
You haven't actually like carved out the time to actually just be. Like there's beauty everywhere if you're open to seeing it and receiving it.
Totally. My God, this has been amazing. How long has this been going for? Can we keep going? I want to keep going. This feels like a free session.
I could be here all day.
Yeah, I love it. What have we not touched on? Is there anything that we haven't touched on? So look, it's all about confidence coaching, okay? So let's talk about confidence for a moment because do you ever has anyone ever come to you and you go, wow, like, why are you with me? You actually have this shit together.
Yeah, so I've got a client right now. He's a CEO of a very large company in America, and he like just literally sent him a voice message this morning and asked like, what made you smile over the weekend? Because again, it's just having someone to be like, yeah, like what did make me smile? What did make me feel good? And he's like, you know what, Crystal, like I've just realized that I'm just so unbelievably happy and content right now. And this guy is a high achiever. He has done all the work. He's delegated. He's sitting at the top, but he's the kindest soul. He goes on a hike every Wednesday, no phone. That's his time to reflect and connect. And he's signed up with me for a year because he wants that accountability. He wants to have someone who's like there for him, who also is, you know, has his best interest at heart. But for him, I kind of like when he took me on, I'm like, I love this guy because he will do the work, he will question himself, and he wants to grow. He wants to evolve. He wants to be his most confident and authentic self. And in the sessions that we're doing, he's like, oh, I thought I've actually worked through that, you know, maybe with psychologists or other things like that. But we go deep. In my sessions, like we go deep. And he's like, oh my God, I feel lighter. Things feel so much clearer now. I now understand myself more. And so if you are of the nature who you love to grow, you love to evolve, that is such a beautiful thing, right? It tells me that you value growth. Growth is probably your number one value. It's my number one value. And so, you know, we will always continually be growing and evolving. And if that is you, like you're my person, right? My partner, growth isn't one of his things. So I'm always like, what are we doing, babe? What's next? But he's not that. He's more of that like, hey, let's hang out and like, let's enjoy this. So I think each and every one of us is always available to learn and grow. And we can always become more confident because often what I see with a lot of people is we're still holding back, like just what you mentioned earlier, right? Like I'm loud, I don't want to come out, like I'm too confident, I'm too this. But in doing that, you're actually hiding a part of yourself.
Oh, damn. You better turn your speakers down. It's going to get louder.
What have I unlocked?
I like it.
But do you know what I'm saying? Like, you're actually
Totally.
not being your true, authentic self by holding back a part of you. And it doesn't mean, confidence doesn't mean you need to be the loudest person in the room.
No.
A man or a woman can walk in a room and you feel their energy, you feel their confidence, right? And that's just how they hold themselves. Like, and imagine, like, maybe you're not confident if you're listening. Like, you probably notice yourself in conversations. You might be like shoulders down, droopy down. Head might be down, tone of voice might be looking down. And then if you kind of literally just...
Your whole demeanour just shifted,
Exactly.
didn't it?
And you can hear the tone, like with language, tone is 7%, right? So when you're trying to communicate, especially with like recruiters, I'm assuming communication, body language, building rapport, it's like coaching. Building rapport is number one fundamental thing. Like we get it drilled into us. So if you don't have rapport, if you're not communicating well, you're probably not going to land the client, right?
Totally.
So
Totally.
if you can be confident,
So I always say stand up when you're on the phone.
Stand up, 100%. Get a stand-up desk. Like put your shoulders back, head held a little bit high. You can feel the chest open, but also just like rolling your shoulders back. That's such an easy thing that we can all do, right?
CrossFit frame is broken.
You're like, oh, get it all out.
Yeah.
So I think they're just like some slight things that you can do, but
You can do that without even like digging into any trauma.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
just
literally
lift the head up,
like
pull
stand up, like,
Yeah.
and that again is just that awareness, and then just be more yourself. Like you are your most confident self when you are you.
Totally.
So,
Totally.
like, if you can get rid of the judgments, get rid of any fears that you have around rejection, any fears that you have that people don't like you, that you're too much, that you're too this, you can fucking be anything.
And you know what? You magnetize what you put out, right? So we all like dealing with people who are similar to us because
Definitely.
the energy resonates, right?
Oh.
So if you're not being yourself, you're going to attract the wrong people in
100%.
business, in life, in friends, and it's just not, you're always going to have this feeling of, it's not quite right.
Definitely.
The moment you're yourself, and I learned that as a recruiter, I'm
Yes.
just everyone goes, oh my God, you're like the exact same person in real life as you are on the podcast. I'm
Yes, 100% you are. 100% you are.
That's just me.
And how much easier is it?
So much easier.
Right? Like for so long, like I was being somebody else and I had this mask and I was so unhappy. And then now I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks of me. I'm like, oh my God, I just wake up and I just be me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but then there's still stories, there's still judgments that come through. And like, I'll just share a story. Like me personally, this year, I've started talking more about psychedelics for personal development. And this was a huge edge for me because I've been doing it personally for 8 years, but I'd hid it, right? Because of this shame, because of this perception, because of
No,
this.
it's becoming a bit mainstream now, isn't it?
Yeah, but like I've been doing it like nearly a decade, but there was all these fears of like, what would people think of me? What would this? What would that? But then this year I was like, you know what? Who gives a fuck? Like, you know that it's helped you and that it's such a powerful modality and you believe in it so much. And now that I've started to do that, the conversations that I'm having with my clients and also prospective clients, because I'm now talking about something that I believe in, that I'm passionate about, it's so much more aligned. And I'm like, wow. And so many people are like, have you had any kickback? I'm like, none. So often these stories we tell ourselves, we get into such a worst case scenario. So what if it works out better than expected? Is a question I always ask myself. Whenever I'm like thinking about something, I can feel the anxiety, I'm fearing something. What if it works out better than expected? And it just flips the mindset, right? It just goes, well, what if? What if I can do that? What if it all works out? And I see this a lot of the time with, you know, especially family dynamics when a lot of my clients are like, oh shit, I've got a baby shower on the weekend. One of my clients had a baby shower and her parents, like, they're quite judgmental and she's like, oh, they're going to do this. And I was like, yeah, but you're going into that event with almost those preconceptions of what's going to happen. So your energy is like, mum's going to say this, dad's going to say that. You're already actually signing yourself up for failure.
And that's all you hear.
That's all
You'll
you'll
just,
hear.
oh, there it is.
100%.
There it is.
You're looking for
They just
it.
said 20 nice things.
100%.
But you heard the one shit thing.
100%. So
Yeah.
if you can kind of actually change your energy and ask yourself, well, what would this look like? What would this feel like if it works out better than expected? You're then leaning into a place of like curiosity, right? That's a completely different energy. Same thing if you go for a job interview, right? And if you're leaning on like, I'm such a shit person, like I'm not good enough, there's so many other smart people, your energy is completely off. they'll feel that in the room.
Yeah.
If you rock up, shoulders back, you take some deep breaths, you roll in and be like, I'm the person for this job, they will feel that.
I like it.
Yeah.
Totally. And that's great advice for recruiters into this. Prep your candidates to be like, you know what, go in there open-minded.
Yeah.
Go in there posture strong.
Yes.
You know, no preconceptions. Go in there like you want the job. Do a little bit of research, you know.
Exactly. Like, do that masculine part of planning, setting yourself up, but then just be you. Actually enjoy the moment, be present. Because if you're not present, you're not really picking up on, like, the things that they're saying as well, right? And that's how we can connect. So it is that balance, that beautiful balance.
I love it. I love it. We have touched on some amazing things.
We have.
Is there anything you want to talk about before we wrap up?
I think, like, if you can do anything for yourself is invest in yourself in whatever way that looks like. If that is signing up to the gym, if that is working with a nutritionist, if that is working with a coach, a therapist, spend that time understanding yourself. It will pay dividends for the rest of your life. The rest of your life. Like, I'm still seeing dividends and it keeps getting better.
Yeah.
And it's pretty unbelievable of what can happen. So just keep going. And be humble in the process.
I love it. Crystal, thank you. Love
you.
it. That was awesome.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Guys, that's it. If you liked it, please share it, like it, comment. Crystal's going to see it. She's going to love it. She's come and volunteered her time, so let's thank her for that. Like, share, subscribe. Really helps us grow. As always, have an amazing day. I don't know if my sign-off is applicable here. It's may all your deals come true, but I kind of want to flip it into a crystal sign-off. What's it? Not a sign-off. May all your what come true?
What?
May all your confidence come true.
Let's go with that. Become yourself. Just be you.
Be you.
Be you.
Be you. Done.
Love that.